morning. Thanks for joining me today. I'm Chrissy. I'm here to bring you a wake up flow this morning. So it's going to run about half an hour and it's just going to be a nice way to start the day, get ready for the weekend, open up the body a little bit. Hopefully it won't be too strenuous and you can just take it at your own level. So, just if anything feels a little bit too much for you today, you can always come to a seated position, you can come to child's pose. No pressure to do everything that I'm doing today. So for this session, make sure that you've got either a mat ideally, or if you don't have a mat you can use a towel just to stop your hands from slipping on the floor. Make sure that you've got some nice comfy clothes on. Make sure that you've got some space around you, so clear away any distractions, so any devices or anything like that. Make sure you've got lots of space to move, clear away any partners, pets, children. Make sure that they're not going to get in your way. If you start to feel unwell during the class, please do stop and get some help for that as well. If you want some water as well, you can always keep some water by your side. So we're going to start today in a seated position. You might want to grab a cushion or a big hard book, so kind of a big thick book is really helpful here. So you can either sit onto your hard book or you can sit onto a cushion or a pillow, if that feels good. If that doesn't feel good, you can also come to sit on your knees as well. So you've got a couple of options here. So get yourself into a nice comfy position. The idea is you just want the hips a little bit lifted, so you can pop a few cushions under there if you like. And then I want you to think about having a nice tall long spine, so sat up nice and tall. And if you can, think about maybe just tucking the chin slightly under so that you're really lengthening through the neck all the way up there. Lovely, really nice. Just take a few breaths here, in through the nose and out through the nose. Really nice. Notice how your breath feels today. Sometimes it can feel a little bit more of a struggle in the morning because we've just woken up. And the first thing we're going to do today is a little bit of a neck stretch. Obviously, if there's any pain that you have in the neck, please don't worry about doing it. You can just sit and breathe. What we're going to do first of all is we're going to very gently tilt our head to the right-hand side. And you can either stay here, this is great, or if you want to take it a little bit further, take your right hand out to the side and then wrap it so that you get your elbow crease over your head. And then what that's going to do is that's just going to add a little bit of weight to help you deepen into that neck stretch. You can close down the eyes here if that feels nice, just focusing on the breathing. We've got a few breaths here. Lovely, really nice. Now if you tend to get a little bit of a tight jaw, this looks a bit silly, but have a go at just opening and chewing the mouth a little bit. And that just helps to release the jaw a little bit. We hold a lot of tension in our jaw. Lovely, really nice. Release the arm down. Very slowly bring the head back to centre. We're going to go the other side. So exactly the same thing. Tilt the head over. And then if you want, taking that arm over, that left hand, elbow crease over the head. Let the weight of the arm drag the head down slightly. And then again, you can stay here, or you can begin to do that lovely, attractive chewing. Hopefully no one can see you, so it's fine. Lovely, really nice. Release the arm down. Very nice. Now keep the left hand on the floor, or you can keep it on the leg if it doesn't reach the floor, or if it feels uncomfortable. Take the right arm out and up, and then you're just going to take a nice gentle side stretch here. So really stretching into the side of the body here, the right hand side of the body. Perhaps feeling how it feels a little bit different to breathe into the side. Lovely, very nice. Take that hand back down. Take the left hand out to the side now. Sweep it out and up, so really stretching over. And if you want, you can look down to that opposite hand as well. But again, feeling that stretch down the left hand side of the body now. Lovely, really nice. Replace the hand down. Bring the hands to the knees. And now we're going to sit up nice and tall. So if you've lost your posture a little bit, remember to sit up nice and tall again. We're going to take the left hand to the right knee, and then we're going to take the right hand just slightly behind us, and then we're going to breathe in, Lengthen, 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 lift the spine. And then as we breathe out, we're just going to do a very gentle twist towards the back of the room. Take a few breaths here. A really nice way to open up the body in the morning. Make sure as well the twist is coming from your navel, because sometimes we just sort of take the neck round and we think that's a twist, but actually we're just turning the neck then. So make sure it's coming from the whole body. Lovely. And then we're going straight over to the other side. So popping the right hand over the left knee now. Left hand sets behind us. Inhale, lift, lift, lift. Exhale, twisting round. So you might be able to feel it all around your mid-centre here. I can certainly feel it all around here, all around my back. A little bit into the shoulder. But we're all different, so we might feel it in different areas of the body. Really nice. One more breath. Lovely. Coming back to centre, removing any props you've got from underneath you. And we're going to come onto our all fours now for our cat-cows. So spreading the fingers out nice and wide on the mat, really stretching the fingers out wide. Shoulders over the wrists, hips over the knees. And in our cat-cows, we're going to inhale, lift the chest, lift the head. And exhale, round into the spine, dome the shoulders, tuck the chin to the chest. Inhale again, lifting the body. And exhale, round. If you can, as you go through a few more rounds of these, try and make each moment last an entire breath. So the length of your inhale to come up and the length of your exhale to curl down. Take a few more of these in your own time. You might want to go faster or slower than how I'm guiding you. You might want to take a few wiggles into the hips. Anything is fine, anything goes, whatever the body needs today. Come to your last round. Lovely, and then come to seek a neutral spine here. Tuck the toes under, and then what we're going to do is just very quickly sit back with the toes tucked under. So this can feel quite intense for some people, so what I want you to do in that case is use your book or your cushions and pop your knees underneath, and that will just alleviate some of the pressure on the feet. Otherwise, we're just sitting up nice and tall. A few breaths here, in through the nose and out through the nose. This can be really nice for the feet. We tend to neglect the feet a little bit, even though they carry us around all day. Lovely, one more breath. And come forwards, release the feet, untuck the toes, just gently tap them down onto the mat. Very nice. And then spread the fingers out wide again, tuck the toes under again, lift the hips, lift the knees. Come into your first downward facing dog. We're pedaling out the feet here. So you might want to bend into one leg, stretch the other one down into the mat. Again, you can go as slow or as fast as you like here. See if you can remember to do the movement with the breath. That's the whole point of yoga, doing the movement with the breath. Be gentle with your body. We've just woken up. The body is very different at 8 o'clock in the morning to 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the evening. So be gentle with yourself. Come to find some stillness here. Come high onto the tippy toes, bend the knees, look forwards, and then we're going to take some slow steps up to the top of the mats, finishing with our feet hip-width distance apart, nice bend in the knees, and we're coming into ragdoll, so holding the opposite elbows and letting the head really drop down here. So normally we sort of tend to hold our head in this position, which isn't doing anything for our neck, so really let the head drop down. Take a few breaths here, option to move side to side, a little sway if that feels good. Beautiful, really nice. Come to find some stillness, keep the body where it is in the space, bring the hands behind the tailbone, interlace the hands and then stretch them up into the air behind you if you can. Idea is that we want to keep the palms together. If you can't, don't worry, just interlace the fingers. And if this is really difficult, just place your hands on the lower back. And we're feeling a stretch in the shoulders, so gravity is pulling the shoulders open, sinking down towards the floor. Really nice stretch to do in the morning or at any time. One more breath here. Lovely, very nice. Release the hands and then very slowly rolling up vertebrae by vertebrae. Head is the last thing to come up. No rush to come up at all. In your own time. And once you get to standing, nice big shoulder roll back and down the spine. Heel toe the feet together. Toes are touching, heels can be slightly apart. Squeezing everything in, engaging the legs, the bum, the tummy. And then bring the hands into heart center. Close down the eyes. Take a moment here. Perhaps you want to think about something you want to manifest in your week, in your day. Perhaps you just want to take a moment to be here, be grateful that you're here. Lovely. Take a nice deep breath in through the nose and let it out through the mouth. Blink the eyes open. Enjoy your practice this morning. Inhale, sweep the arms up to the sky. Gaze up at thumbs. Good morning, body, big stretch here. Folding forwards all the way down. Bend the knees as much as you need to. Tuck the chin to the chest. Inhale, halfway lift, hands come to shins. Nice long back here, so nice extended spine. Gaze is slightly forward. Exhale, plant the hands down. Step back to plank, so right, left, step back to plank. Inhale in your plank and dome the shoulders slightly, so nice strong plank position here, engaging everything. On your exhale, drop the knees. Now watch me do this, so drop the chest and the chin down, so your chest and the chin down, and your bum's still in the air. We're now going to push forward using our hands and the strength of our arms into our baby cobra. With this position, you want to push the tops of the feet into the floor, clip the elbows in, and the gaze is slightly forward, legs are really strong, really engaged. Tuck the toes under, and on your exhale, push back, lift the hips, downward facing dog. You've got 5 breaths in your downward facing dog. If you don't want to stay for 5 breaths, you can always come down to a child's pose or a seated meditation. And in your downward facing dog, think about spreading the fingers wide as we've done before and really using Hasta Bandha, your hand lock, and pushing the hands into the earth. Keeping the toes nice and light so they can almost lift off the floor, but thinking about the ankles gently melting down towards the earth. At the end of your next exhale, come high onto the tippy toes, bend the knees deeply, look forward, step right, left to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift and lengthen, heart is open, nice broad collarbone. Exhale, empty down and fold. Inhale, come all the way up to standing, rolling up through the spine, sweep the hands into the air. Gaze up at thumbs, good morning body. Exhale, folding forward, bend the knees as much as you need to, tuck the chin to the chest, hands come to the floor. Inhale, halfway lift, long spine, heart is open, roll the shoulders away from the ears. Exhale, plant the hands, step left, right now into plank. And now lower down on your exhale, drop the knees, chest and chin, Ashtanga Namaskara, push forward. Inhale into Bhujangasana, baby cobra, push the tops of the feet into the floor. And then exhale, tuck the toes, bend the knees, lift the hips, downward facing dog. So in your downward facing dog, ideally, yes, you can have the legs straight, but actually, what I'd much rather you have bent knees and get a nice bit of length in the spine than have sort of straight legs and your spine to be really sort of rounded. So think about that, think about where you are in the space. Can you bend the knees straight and lengthen into the spine? And then begin to straighten the legs when you're ready. The heels don't have to touch the floor either. We're all built a little bit differently. At the end of your next exhale, come high onto the tippy toes, bend the knees, look forward, and then step left, right to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthen, long spine. Exhale, empty down and fold. root to rise, push the feet into the floor, sweep the arms up, engage the belly, engage the bum. Nice little back bend here perhaps, and then bring your hands into heart center. Check in with yourself, are you still breathing? That's the whole point of yoga. If we're not breathing, well, we need to breathe. We need to breathe, don't we? So keep breathing, keep breathing. If you find the breath has become really difficult, you might want to scale back so that you can breathe a lot easier. Lovely. On your next inhale, sit low, sweep the arms into the air, come into Utkatasana, chair pose. So we're sitting nice and low here if we can. If you look down, you should be able to see all your 10 toes and lift them off the floor. If you can't, it might be your weight's a little bit too far forward. So imagine you are literally sitting into a chair. Lovely. On your next exhale, coming forward, Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, long spine, engage the belly, pull the belly in. Exhale, plant the hands, step back to plank. Inhale in your plank, down the shoulders. Now either stick with your knees, chest, chin, or you can start to move to Chaturanga Dandasana, moving the shoulders over the wrists, bending halfway down, then coming into upward facing dog. So with upward facing dog, it's only my hands and my feet that are on the floor. Everything else is lift, lift, lifted. And then push back, roll over the feet. Downward facing dog. Step the right foot forward. If it doesn't quite reach, you can use your hand and step it all the way up. Keep the back foot active. Strong belly, strong thighs. Come to your high crescent lunge. Take a few breaths here. Think about pulling the right hip back, the left hip forward. And then on your next exhale, plant the hands. Step back, flow through your choice of vinyasa, or you can skip the vinyasas. And we all meet in downward facing dog. Step the left foot forward this time. Use your hand to bring it to the top of the mat if it doesn't quite reach. Active back foot. Sweep the arms into the air, high crescent lunge. Think about this time pulling your left hip back, your right hip forward to square off those hips. Exhale, plant the hands down onto the floor. Step back, flow through your choice of vinyasa or skip it. And we all meet back in downward facing dog for 5 breaths. Deep breaths here. Remember, you've always got child's pose or a seated meditation if you prefer to be there. And if you are in your downward dog, imagine that I'm there in the space with you and I've got my hands in your hip creases and I'm just lifting your hips slightly towards the ceiling, and feel that lift in the spine, in the body. See if you can get any more length by imagining that. And then at the same time, think about those ankles melting down towards the earth. Is there anywhere else you can engage? Can you squeeze the belly? Can you squeeze the bum, the legs? At the end of the next exhale, come high onto the tippy toes, bend the knees deeply. Your choice, either step or lightly float to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift and lengthen. Exhale, empty down and fold. Inhale, sit low into your chair, Utkatasana. And then come up to standing, bring the hands to heart center, Uttanasana. Lovely, very, very nice. Okay, so sitting nice and low into our chair again, sweeping the arms up in front of us. This time we're going to do a twisted chair. So bring the hands into heart center, inhale, roll the shoulders back, and then exhale, bring the left elbow across the right knee. See if you can hook it over the knee. If you can't, you can just bring it into the space wherever it falls. And then you're twisting towards the ceiling here. So think about your bum being low in the space and think about that twist coming from the navel. One more breath. Beautiful. Come back into chair. Bring the hands into heart center. We're going to go the other way. Good morning. Ready for the weekend. Sit low in the space. And see if you can twist towards the ceiling. Check into your knees as well. Make sure one knee hasn't rolled forward in front of the other. Make sure they're nice and level. One more breath here. Beautiful. When you're ready, drop the hands down. Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, long spine. Exhale, plant the hands, step back. Your choice of vinyasa or skip it, and we're all going to meet back in downward facing dog. Lovely. When you're there, inhale, take the right leg into the sky behind you. Exhale, bend the knee, bring it forward, step it lightly through to the top of the mat. And then we're coming into our high lunge as we did before. You guys stay where you are. I'm just turning around so that you can see me on this side. And then we're going to set the back heel down, open the hips out nice and wide, open the body, looking forward over that front hand, coming into warrior two. So nice and strong, think about that knee tracking over the little toe of the front foot, belly in. Keep the legs where they are, flip the front palm, and then lift, lift, lift into your reverse warrior. Back hand comes to the back leg. If you have any neck pain, let that head drop towards the back foot. Nice side stretch in the body here as well. Lovely. Bring the right arm on top of the right thigh. Sweep the left arm up and over the head. And we're coming into our extended side angle. Now the idea here is we're feeling a nice stretch here and we're opening the chest towards the ceiling. Take one more big breath here. Beautiful. Windmill the hands down to frame the front foot. Step back to plank. Flow through your vinyasa or skip it. And we're going to meet back in downward facing dog when you're ready. When you're there, inhale, lift the left leg into the sky. Watching out for anything behind you. Bend the knee, bring it forward, step lightly to the top of the mat. Engage the tummy, keep the back leg active. Sweep the arms into the sky, high crescent lunge. And then set the back heel down, open up, take up a lot of room on the mat if you can, opening into your warrior two. Gaze is over that front arm, thinking about that front knee tracking over the little toe of the front foot. Think about tucking the tailbone in there, extending the arms really, really far. Lovely, keep that legs as they are. Turn the front palm so it's facing upwards. And then reach, reach, reach into your reverse peaceful warrior. Lovely, feeling that nice side stretch here. And then coming forward, setting the right forearm on, the left forearm on the left thigh. Bringing that right arm up and in front of the body into our extended side angle. So while you're here thinking about opening up the chest towards the ceiling. Strong legs. One more breath. Beautiful. Windmill the hands so they frame the front foot. Step back to plank and then your choice, your vinyasa, or you can skip it. And we're all going to meet back in downward facing dog. Once you're in your downward facing dog, drop the knees down. And we're going to come into a puppy dog stretch. So this is a really nice stretch for underneath the arms. If it feels too intense, you can always do a child's pose. But if you have a little look, what I'm going to do is walk my hands forward, keep my hips high, and then I'm going to drop my chest down to the floor. You can place a cushion underneath the chest if that feels nice. And what you can do is you can keep the chest, the chin tucked under, or you can place the forehead on the mat or the cushion. And you want to feel the target area is sort of around this area of the body. If you can't feel anything, it might be that you've taken your hips too far back, so have a little rethink, rejig of the body. We've got 3 more breaths here. You can close down the eyes as well if that feels good. Lovely, really nice. Begin to very gently walk the hands back towards the body. Coming back to downward facing dog. We're going to jump through to seated, so you can step or jump, and you're just going to lift the hips, do a nice little jump, or you can walk through to a seated position. You can have a go at that this morning. You're going to extend your legs out in front of you. Now you've got a few options here. It's early morning, so I would recommend we do Paschimottanasana, forward fold, a nice passive one, so we don't want to be really straining for the legs. So what I quite like to do is place a cushion underneath the knees. Got a little bit of a bend in the knees now. Lengthen the spine, inhale, and then exhale, folding forwards. Now don't worry if your hands don't come near your feet, just place your hands wherever they sort of land, and then you can just sort of inhale, lengthen the body, and exhale to fold and round slightly. And honestly, don't worry if you feel like you're quite far up. Everyone's different. We've got 4 more breaths here. Lovely, very slowly rolling up, removing any props from underneath you, and then perhaps scooching forward a little bit on the mat. Make sure you've got enough room behind you. Very slowly, vertebrae by vertebrae, we're going to roll down to the mat. Nice and slow. Lovely, very nice. Okay, bring the knees in and soles of the feet on the floor. You're going to slightly pigeon toe the feet. So when I say that, it means that the toes are slightly facing towards each other. Nothing crazy, but just a little bit of a pointing in towards each other. It just helps protect the knees. And you should be able to maybe reach your ankles or near your ankles at least. You've got 2 choices here. We're either going to come into restorative bridge or a normal bridge pose. I love restorative bridge, it's my favourite pose. So with that, you're going to need probably your hard book. You can use a cushion, but it tends to not really be as effective. So I would use a hard cushion or a hard book or a block. What you're going to do is squeeze the belly, squeeze the bum, lift the hips slightly, and then you're going to slide your prop underneath you, and it's going to be sitting between sort of your bum and your lower back. So sort of neither one or the other, and you'll feel a position where you feel a little bit supported. So for instance, if I sit there, I don't feel supported there, and if it's there, I don't really feel supported there. So right underneath your tailbone. And then from here, you're going to lift the palms up facing the ceiling, and then you're just going to close down the eyes and just enjoy a nice release here. Normally feel quite a nice release in the belly, in the legs, and just enjoy this. If you want to come into proper, a normal bridge, you're going to, same position to set up, plant the hands down, squeeze the bum, squeeze the hips, and then lift up vertebrae by vertebrae, squeezing the feet into the floor. You can either stay here, or if you want to go a bit further, you can roll the shoulders underneath the hips, underneath the body, and then you can interlace the hands underneath the hips. And to go a little bit deeper, you can push the feet into the floor, and that should lift you a little bit higher. Wherever you are, we've got 3 more breaths. You can close down the eyes here as well, it feels quite nice. Last breath. Lovely. If you've got the interlace, release the interlace, begin to roll down. If you've got the prop underneath you, squeeze the bum, lift a little bit, slide the prop from underneath you, and then we're just going to windscreen wiper the legs. Very nice. Okay, bringing the knees into the chest, we're going to lift the feet into the air, keep the knees nice and bent, and then open the knees out to the side. We're coming into happy baby. You can either grab hold of the thighs, the calves, outer edges of the feet, whatever feels comfortable, and wherever you are, you're just going to very gently sway from side to side like a happy baby. And this can be quite nice to release any tension in the hips, in the lower back. Don't feel like you're grabbing for anything as well. Like if it just feels more comfortable to have your hands here, that's absolutely fine. No right or wrong. Lovely. And then bring the knees together, set them down, shift the hips over to the right hand side, lift the knees back up, and take the knees over to the left. Your hands can either be cactus, so bent at the elbow if you don't have much space, or they can be out straight to the side if you do have a bit of space. Close down the eyes here, perhaps taking the gaze over to the right hand side. Very slowly begin to bring the knees into centre again. Shift the hips over to the left hand side this time. Take the knees over to the right. and then perhaps taking the gaze over to the left. Very nice. Bring the knees into centre. Now you've got two choices here how we're going to finish. So you can either take a Shavasana, which is lovely and always one of the best poses in the world, or what I quite like to do to finish my morning practice is I quite like to sit on a pillow or a block, come to cross-legged or a kneeling position, sitting up nice and tall, closing down the eyes and just taking a few minutes here just to breathe, settling back into the body. There's no right or wrong, however you want to finish is fine, but I normally feel that sitting up helps me not feel too sleepy again. Sometimes when I'm in Shavasana in the morning I feel like I want to have another nap. But whatever feels good for you today is fantastic. I would encourage you to stay in whatever you've chosen to do at the end of class for maybe 2, 5, 10 minutes, however long you have. However, if you want to finish the class with me now, thank you very